Greece is known for its mountainous terrain. However, on the tip of the peninsula, encased by a wall of mountains, there is a beautiful valley stretching for miles and miles. The ancient inhabitants of this area would come to call it Laconia, and its people would be one of the most warlike cultures in ancient Greece. This is the history of the great city-state of Sparta. Now, Sparta was first founded during the time of the Mycenaeans, a dominant culture in mainland Greece. The Mycenaeans were a warlike culture, building massive forts that also doubled as royal palaces. The most dominant of these was that of Mycenae in central Greece. Sparta, much like Athens and Thebes, was simply another Mycenaean fort that stood on the peninsula. However, all of this was to change in the 1100 BCs when Mycenaean Greece was rocked by invasions from multiple outside peoples. Most noticeable out of these peoples was that of the Dorians, who settled in mainland Peloponnese, including Laconia. By 900 BC, these Dorians had settled into Laconia and had formed the state which was to be known as Sparta. An event would occur in the 650s BC when Sparta crushed the Messian revolt. Rather than subjugating these people, Sparta enslaved the entire population, setting them to work on the farms of Sparta. It was also around this time that Sparta began to develop its military to such a capacity that they were able to claim hegemony over the Peloponnese in 550 BC. Training their young men from a very early age to become warriors, Sparta soon developed a reputation as a fierce military power. Sparta went to such extremes with their military that they began assessing the qualities of newborn babies. If the baby had any physical defects, it would then be left to die on a mountaintop. This separating the weakest from youngest resulted in the Spartan military becoming one of the most elite militaries in Greece. However, it also had the effect of limiting Sparta's population to around a few thousand. This would have drastic implications in the near future. In 550 BC, Sparta formed the Peloponnesian League, an alliance of Sparta, Corinth, and other states in the Peloponnese. Sparta also found itself at war with the city of Argos. However, despite repeated sieges, Sparta failed to take the city, with Argos successfully defending themselves against them. The status quo in Greece, however, was about to change, as in 480 BC, the Greco-Persian War started. This was a conflict which started when the Ionians of Anatolia revolted against their Persian overlords, with the Greek city of Athens soon becoming involved in the war. Athens soon proved itself to be a growing military power, defeating the Persians at the Battle of Marathon. However, this angered the Persian kings, who eventually in 480 BC invaded mainland Greece. Recognizing this as a threat, Sparta and Athens formed an alliance, with Sparta marching out to the pass of Thermopylae, hoping to delay the Persians. Numbering only 300 Spartans, the small expeditionary force held off the Persians for 3 days before being completely overwhelmed. Sparta and Athens would eventually triumph over the Persians. However, in the process they had become huge rivals in mainland Greece. Athens had asserted itself as the defenders of the Greek people. It wasn't before long that Athens' defensive alliance with multiple city-states began to look more like an empire, as Athens began to assert its dominance over these cities in the form of their powerful navy. Without a common enemy, Sparta and Athens began to butt heads in what was known as the Peloponnesian War. This war lasted for an extremely long time. The problem was that Sparta was a dominant land power, however they couldn't get past Athens' walls. Furthermore, the Spartans couldn't besiege Athens because Athens had a port, linking it to supplies from abroad. Eventually, the Spartan general Lysander managed to defeat an Athenian fleet and blockade the port. This eventually led to Athens capitulating in 404 BC. With this, Sparta claimed hegemony over the entirety of Greece. However, it wasn't long before this hegemony began to be challenged by other city-states. The Spartan populace never really recovered from the two massive wars they had just fought, and as a result, Thebes managed to claim hegemony over Sparta in the 370s. Sparta's glory days were now far behind them. However, Sparta managed to resist the invading Macedonians under Philip II and Alexander the Great, maintaining their independence for the foreseeable future. Despite this, Sparta was not really in its prime anymore, and as a result, didn't really do much over the next coming centuries. They successfully repelled an attack by Pyrrhus of Epirus. However, they soon found themselves under the rule of the Romans. This would last until 396 CE, when Sparta was finally sacked by the Visigoths. What's interesting about Sparta is how they spun a web of propaganda around their city. For example, Thermopylae is now ingrained in the Western civilization as a last heroic defense against the Eastern barbarians, protecting Western freedom. However, Sparta enslaved entire populace, murdered children that they didn't think were worthy of being in their army, and ultimately never recovered from the two famous wars they fought in. Nevertheless, Sparta has been immortalized as the state which produced some of the finest warriors in history. Thanks for watching and listening to our video. If you like the channel, consider subscribing to Ancient History Guy. Or, if you really like the channel, head on over to our Patreon feed. There, for as little as $1 a month, you can gain access to exclusive documentaries, behind-the-scenes footage, and videos before they're live on YouTube. All sources are listed and linked in the description below. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. I've been the Ancient History Guy, and as always, I'll be seeing you later.